taste in original, light, and fat-free.
We have a promotion going right now, 50% off frames. Everything from the designers to the lower price frames. Everything. Come in and get 50% off any frame that you choose.
Binions, where you're a person, not a prescription.
It's an excellent deal.
Men and women reveal their secret desires on the next hard copy.
Peace talks set for Bosnia, but they and President Clinton's whole foreign policy are being held hostage by Senator Jesse Helms.
You tell Mr. Clinton to read my lips.
A new twist on desegregation, fairness and equality in a Boston school case as a white father sues. And the Simpson trial, hits and misses in the case for the people and the defense on the eve of closing arguments.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. U.S. diplomats intervened today to save peace talks on Bosnia, and Middle East leaders are coming to the White House Thursday to sign a new peace accord. U.S. foreign policy backed by U.S. military power is once again moving mountains, or at least a few hills, in world affairs. But at the same time, it's threatened by a vicious power struggle with Republicans in Congress. First, the latest on Bosnia from White House correspondent Rita Braver.
This is a meeting that almost didn't happen, and the administration is heaving a collective sigh of relief that Secretary of State Warren Christopher and the foreign ministers of Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia actually sat down together, a prelude to tomorrow's negotiating session. But for a while, it looked as if Bosnia would pull out of the talks, requiring last-minute assurance from Christopher that the country's territorial integrity would not be sacrificed.
Indeed, tomorrow's meeting will constitute, we think, an important step in the path to peace that was laid out by President Clinton last month. There's a real possibility now of moving forward.
And Bosnia was a major issue for President Clinton today, as he and top administration officials at the White House participated in a teleconference call with Christopher and other foreign policy team members in New York. They're aware of just how delicate these pending peace talks are, especially as fighting continues near Banja Luka. But even if all parties agree to a negotiated solution, the administration still faces the problem of U.S. participation in enforcing any agreement. CBS News has obtained a draft copy of a letter Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole and other Republicans plan to send to President Clinton, questioning the president's plan to commit thousands of American troops to NATO peacekeeping.
I don't support the mission, and I don't think the American people do. This is not where we should be taking the leadership role.
And there are still other peacekeeping problems. Today, the Russian government said it wants to be part of the force, but insists the command be rotated between NATO and the Russian military. A top State Department official said it's not going to happen. It wouldn't be workable. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
Republicans are doing more than questioning President Clinton's foreign policy. One Republican power, a senator, is threatening to bring the State Department to a halt. Correspondent David Martin has that story.
Secretary of State Christopher was at the UN today telling it to put its house in order.
We must renew and reform the United Nations.
But Christopher is a man in a glass house. His own State Department locked in a bitter struggle with Republicans in Congress that threatens to make a shambles of U.S. foreign policy.
You tell Mr. Clinton to read my lips. All he's got to do is call off the dogs, let the Senate vote on my proposal.
Senate Foreign Relations Chairman Jesse Helms is demanding that 3 State Department agencies be eliminated and is holding up the nominations of more than 25 U.S. ambassadors and the ratification of several treaties, including the START II treaty to reduce nuclear weapons, until he gets a vote on his proposal.
If anybody thinks that the world is going to a pot because of the lack of ambassadors, all they got to do is say, let the Senate vote on the Helms proposal.
Besides having its ambassadors held hostage, the State Department is also faced with a powerful subcommittee chairman determined to cut its budget by $1 billion.
I have reduced State Department spending by about 20%. Much of that is focused on membership dues in various world organizations.
Like the UN, where the U.S. is already nearly $2 billion in arrears. But the State Department says a 20% cut would also force it to close as many as 50 overseas posts.
Our ability to conduct arms control, along with our ability to engage in peacekeeping, counter narcotics, and counter crime, is going to suffer, and I would say be crippled, if the kinds of cuts that are now being contemplated actually go into effect.
The Republicans say they have to do it in order to cut the federal deficit. The Clinton administration calls it foreign policy on the cheap. Whatever you call it, it's a nasty fight. David Martin, CBS News, the State Department.
Leaders of Israel and the PLO will meet again at the White House this week. They will sign a second-stage peace accord, returning more of the West Bank to Palestinian rule. President Clinton calls it a big step toward peace, but it still faces fierce opposition on both sides, as Bob Simon reports.
It was the day after the historic accord in the West Bank's largest town was shut down by a strike honoring the 3 Palestinians killed by Israelis here this last week. The only activity in Nablus, the wakes. It was the day after, and the Jewish settlers of Alfei Menashe saw their green and pleasant life disappearing over the horizon.
My government signed an agreement with a movement of terrorists and murderers.
That's not the way they see it in Qalqilia, an Arab town a few hundred yards away. When the PLO takes over here, Palestinian-Israeli relations will take off on a new course.
They used to take, okay? Now it's time for thinking of how to give and what to give.
When Israeli troops pull out of Qalqilia, it will signal not only the end of the occupation, but the end of an idea, the dream of a greater land of Israel. Will it mean peace? If that means the end of armed conflict, perhaps, but not much more, at least, not for a while. Arab children will not be invited to the swimming pool in Alfei Menashe. Israeli shoppers will not flock to the market in Qalqilia. Israelis see peace primarily as separation. In fact, the government is considering putting up a fence along the border. For Qalqilia, which sends thousands of workers to Israel every day, that could spell disaster.
We have to open our borders for each other, not to building a Berlin Wall.
For Abdul Rahman, a Palestinian takeover means a new house. The Israelis demolished this one after his son killed himself and 22 Israelis on a bus in Tel Aviv. I couldn't believe my son was the bomber, he said, until I went to the hospital and saw the body. Is peace possible between the Israelis and the Palestinians? God willing. This army observation post near Alfei Menashe will probably come down soon. 7 years ago, settler A.B. Moses was driving past this spot when a Palestinian threw a Molotov cocktail at his car. His wife and son were killed. A.B. and his 2 other children severely burned. A.B. owns a gas station now, named after his dead wife and child. Palestinians killed your wife, killed your son, and you think that peace is possible?
Don't say Palestinian, one guy. He did it. I mean, I don't hate those people.
Do you think it can work?
It should work. It should work. And it has to.
If it does work, Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat will enter history as the men who resolved a 100-year-old conflict. But that will not be clear in a few weeks, probably not for many, many years. Bob Simon, CBS News, Qalqilia.
Still ahead, the oldest public school in America, the newest battleground in a lawsuit charging reverse discrimination. And next, the Oklahoma City bombing case leaves town. But why won't the judge budge?
Please pass the all fruit.
Polaner all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice.
Would you please pass the jelly?
You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please don't dare call it jelly.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
It's never too late for Caltrate. Caltrate Plus has the extra calcium you need, plus 6 nutrients essential for healthy bones, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
She said while you're out, pick up some Correctol. But that one was cheaper.
How was he to know?
For 40 years, women have trusted Correctol for gentle, overnight relief.
Well, I got the right kind of motor oil.
That he knows.
Correctol, the one more women trust.
Presenting Casey. Pound for pound, he uses more energy than most dogs, twice his size. That's why we make Mighty Dog. It has the perfect balance of nutrients he needs. It makes your dog a mighty dog.
Attorneys for accused Oklahoma City bomber Terry Nichols will file an emergency appeal this week for the removal of the judge in the case. Scott Pelley tells us why the judge is now at the center of a controversy over whether Nichols and prime suspect Timothy McVeigh can ever get a fair trial.
Judge Wayne Alley spent his early years as a lawyer at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where a young man learns a certain single-mindedness. Alley spent a career in military law, retired a brigadier general. Now, as a federal judge, he is fighting to keep the Oklahoma bombing trial, even though both sides want him off the case.
His actual courtroom was significantly damaged by the bomb. He's a victim. Now, how could he think that he could preside and look to be impartial over a case in which he's a victim of the crime?
But Alley is known for his independent mind. In another case, after listening to quarreling lawyers, he wrote, "Counsel have a constitutional right to regard each other as schmucks. But this case makes me lament the demise of dueling."
He's a quick, sharp, very careful judge who is going to do what it is that the law requires and not what it is that perhaps public opinion might require.
If Alley keeps the bombing case, he intends to hold it here, Lawton, Oklahoma's courthouse, circa 1915. One courtroom, 80 seats.
It's likely the little courthouse would be turned over to the trial completely. Other federal offices would be moved out. And the U.S. Marshal Service is considering whether to turn the one-cell jail inside into a high-tech holding facility for both the defendants.
You will see security enhancements over the next several months.
And it's going to cost a lot of money.
I'm sure it will cost considerable money, yes, sir.
It's the biggest thing in this town of 80,000 since they built the tire plant. Alley says jurors here won't be biased. They're 80 miles from Oklahoma City. And for him, there's one other advantage.
All right, let's go, Thurman 2, let's go.
Lawton is home to Fort Sill. For now, legal experts won't bet against Alley's ability to hold on to the case and take it where he wants it to go. Scott Pelley, CBS News, Lawton, Oklahoma.
Let's go.
Ahead, a special look at the moments that could tip the balance for innocence or guilt in the O.J. Simpson case.
I'm fainting. Walter the dentist is coming over and I got gas. So I take my Lanta gas release gel caps. My Lanta gas has the best and only medicine for gas relief and an advanced gel cap. Now I'm my scintillating self again.
Stop blow dry or dry out with Neutrogena Heat Safe.
Heat Safe works. My hair is shinier, softer, a lot less frizzy when I blow dry. Every day my hair looks better. It's a miracle product.
Stop blow dry or dry out with Neutrogena Heat Safe.
Hey, what is it you want?
He wants our opinion.
Of what, of this? Oh, come on.
Little milk and flakes.
You heard him. Flakes.
He wants us to try.
Oh, come on. Listen, we try. Will you go away? Try them, quick.
All right,
in the middle of the game. Eating in the middle of the game.
I gotta tell you, Ray, these are pretty good.
Not bad.
Crunchy.
Fill up a couple of more bowls and then scram, okay?
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes?
You're very tricky. I like that. Did you move?
No.
Don't move when I'm not looking.
Taste them again for the first time.
If you've been drinking Ensure, there's a little something you should know. Sustacal has more protein, less fat, and about twice as much calcium. No, Sustacal can't add years to your life, but it might help add life to your years.
Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves.
Yeah, that's the rule, but do any jurors obey it? In one state, they don't have to.
I mean, it was just like, if you don't talk, you're going to go out of your mind.
Jury reform. Too late for the Simpson jurors, but is it an idea whose time has come? The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Ross Perot is again stirring up the presidential campaign pot tonight. CBS News has been told the Texas billionaire will launch petition drives to win a place on the ballot for a third party in all 50 states. Not just an independent candidate, but a third party. The sources told CBS News that Perot has no particular independent candidate for president in mind, not even himself. But of course, Colin Powell is a possibility. In its long history, Boston Latin, this nation's oldest public school, has given the country 5 signers of the Declaration of Independence and notables from Ralph Waldo Emerson to Leonard Bernstein. Now, Boston Latin is the focal point for a growing issue of the 90s, a court battle that seeks to rewrite a generation of guidelines and rules on the best way to promote fairness, equal opportunity, and school desegregation. Jacqueline Adams has the story.
Homework, hard work, and 5 years of Latin. That plus a near guarantee of going to college are the traditions of Boston Latin School, the city's premier public high school. Its students must pass a difficult exam to attend. But Michael McLaughlin's 12-year-old daughter, Julia, didn't get in, even though she passed the test.
She knows that she did get in, but for her skin color. And her response is, then I belong there.
McLaughlin is fighting to overturn Boston Latin's racial quota. For some 20 years, 35% of the seats have been reserved for black and Hispanic students.
The reward has been taken from her for a race-based classification system, and we think it's just unacceptable. It's unconstitutional.
McLaughlin is reopening bitter wounds. Hearing this case is Judge W. Arthur Garrity, the man who in the 70s ordered forced busing to desegregate Boston's public schools. Today, school officials insist that Boston Latin is so competitive, the quotas are still needed.
If we do not take race into account in making these assignments, we are concerned that there is significant risk of resegregation.
Before the lawsuit, Boston Latin students, both black and white, had been unaware of the racial quota.
I think that the acceptance policy should be on merit and not on like color or other things.
School officials have tried to reassure the students they all deserve to be there, but the kids are divided.
We need the quotas, we want a lot of people to go to Latin, not just all white people.
The case is expected to go back to the judge next month. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Boston.
The Earth is putting on an awesome show down in New Zealand. A 9,000-foot volcano has been erupting every few minutes, spewing ash, steam, and molten lava. Roads are closed and air traffic has been diverted from the area.
Monday, I soak my dentures. Tuesday, I brush. Wednesday, I...
Stop. Denture Cream really cleans dentures, and its new Mouthwash Fresh formula has more minty mouthwash ingredients. Denture Cream.
Every day.
Now with new Mouthwash Fresh formula.
Arthritis pain, it's a part of my life. That's why I keep Advil close by. It's gentler on my stomach than aspirin. Just one works as well as 2 regular Tylenol. And give me Advil any day over a leave. With that, if your pain comes back, it could be hours before you can take more. I don't have that long wait with Advil.
Advil works at the site of minor arthritis pain, stopping it where it starts.
Nothing's proven to work better or last longer than Advil. Nothing.
Advanced medicine for pain.
Men, is gray hair sneaking up on you, right under your nose, making you look too old?
Whoa, it is sneaking up on me. Up here, too.
You need Just for Men Color Gel, made for the hard-to-color gray of mustaches and sideburns. Simply brush in this no-drip gel, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Gray's gone. Your mustache and sideburns blend perfectly with your natural hair color.
That gray won't sneak up on me again.
Just for Men Color Gel, the sure thing for a natural look.
There's so much new going on at Red Lobster.
With 15 dinners under $10 and our new Ultimate Trio for $8.99. Lobster and shrimp pasta, mahi-mahi, and fried shrimp. Just $8.99 for a short time.
So hurry into Red Lobster.
Hey, man.
Hey. I'm making some grilled cheese sandwiches. Do you want one?
Sure. Dear Alfred.
Alfred?
Here are a couple things to make living on your own a little easier. Love, Mom.
Cool.
Yikes.
Hey, check this out. Nothing turns a sandwich into a satisfying meal like rich, wholesome Campbell's tomato soup. So you know your family's eating right, even when you can't be there to cook for them.
There's nothing like a home-cooked meal.
You said it, Alfred.
Campbell's makes everything better.
Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves.
Do any jurors obey that order? In one state, they don't have to. Does it make a difference? The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
The double murder trial of O.J. Simpson is nearing its final hours now. Tomorrow, lawyers begin presenting closing arguments to a weary jury. Tonight, we look at the key moments that may make the difference to that jury, the direct hits and the embarrassing misses. Sandra Hughes presents the view from the defense, but attorneys for the people are up first, and tonight we began with Bill Whitaker and the people's argument.
No matter what you do,
From the beginning, prosecutors called it a strong case built on overwhelming circumstantial evidence.
All of the arrows point to the defendant because that's the mountain of evidence that exists.
2 victims, a trail of blood leading straight, they say, to one suspect. Orenthal James Simpson, a violent former husband with a motive to kill.
Wait a minute, we're sending the police. What is he doing? Is he threatening you?
He's been going nuts.
Okay, just stay on the line.
I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the shit out.
Wait a minute, wait.
His decision to kill finally was merely a final link in a progressive chain of abusive and controlling conduct.
Prosecutors claimed he also had the opportunity to kill.
Did you know where he was at 9:45?
No.
Did you see the defendant at 9:50?
No.
And they had that mountain of evidence, test after DNA test, showing Simpson's blood at the murder scene, the victim's blood in his Bronco and house, hit after hit for the prosecution.
This is consistent with a mixture of the defendant's sample and Mr. Goldman's sample.
The one hair on...
And more hits, hair like the victim's on the bloody glove at Simpson's home, and that bloody Bruno Mali shoe print near the bodies, size 12 like Simpson's. Proof FBI expert William Bodziak contends there was just one killer.
Unless the second killer was flying around the scene there, it was impossible in that confined space for there to be two killers, and Bodziak drove that point home.
But there were major misses, too, largely because prosecutors let Simpson's aggressive team set the agenda, putting the prosecution on the defensive.
Have you found that Dr. Golden made mistakes in the course of conducting autopsies on Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Golden?
He has made some mistakes, yes.
And then this.
That was a bad day for Chris Darden, and he got goaded into. The buttons were pressed by Johnny Cochran, and effectively so.
And a major pitfall.
Mark Furman.
At first considered a strong witness, he found that incriminating bloody glove at Simpson's estate. But the defense exposed him as a racist, again trying to shift the focus off the defendant. His credibility in tatters, Furman was forced to cloak himself in the Fifth Amendment.
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Prosecutors called it all a sideshow, a distraction, and insist their mountain of evidence will prevail. And now, in closing arguments, prosecutors have one final chance to weave together all the strands of evidence and testimony into one coherent story and make it convincing enough that this jury believes O.J. Simpson is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The defense case was always easy for Johnny Cochran to explain.
What do you think? Somebody did something. Something's wrong.
And what was wrong? The cavalcade of defense attorneys stuck to a three-pronged theme.
Corrupt. Contamination. Conspiracy of silence.
I don't think the defense case is complicated at all. And, of course, that's the virtue to it.
The defense scored early hits with a slam-bang run-through of family members and sympathetic witnesses.
I thought, what a nice man this was.
But then shift to midstream misses. The lack of a witness to give an alibi, a neighbor who conceded he might have seen a white Bronco speeding away from the crime scene, a doctor who said Simpson wasn't physically capable of committing murder, then was made to watch this exercise video with a wisecrack about spousal abuse.
I'm telling you, you just gotta get your space in if you're working out with the wife.
The dream team may have found some redemption in the often confusing alphabet soup of DNA, RFLP, and PCR. The duo, some nicknamed Simon and Garfunkel, tried to bring down the prosecution's so-called mountain of scientific evidence.
What Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld did is sort of place dynamite charges in that mountain, and they just blew the mountain down in a very strategic manner.
Two of their more effective experts blasted the police lab for chronic contamination and said that blood on Simpson's socks wasn't spattered, but intentionally smeared on. But maybe the highest point for the defense was the now infamous Furman tapes, destined to go down with the bloody gloves as a symbol of this case. Suddenly, the N-word took center stage.
He said, the only good nigger is a dead nigger.
This is a blockbuster. This is a bombshell.
But it might not have been the grand slam they'd hoped for. For all the attention paid to the Furman matter out of court, the jurors only pondered it for about a day and a half.
The jurors had absolutely no context for that testimony when they heard it.
Testimony ended on a bizarre note from a mafia enforcer and his brother. The jury did not hear from several witnesses promised in Cochran's opening statements so many months ago, nor did they hear from the defendant, although the rest of the world did.
They will find, as the record stands now, that I did not, could not, and would not have committed this crime.
Yet another example of why many observers say on sheer drama, the defense wins hands down. But because of the fitful nature of this trial, much of that drama was never seen by the 12 people considering this case. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
As soon as closing arguments begin tomorrow, CBS News will begin live coverage on this CBS station. Next on our newscast, a look back at an extraordinary life.
Well, we're here with Wanda and Babs, who feel that their zipper bag is fine and will not switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right. Ditto.
Now, Babbo, let's say you hold some of your famous chicken gravy upside down over Wanda's head, sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Well, I say let's go for it with our bag. Why switch? Because it's my head. We'll switch to Gladlock.
Good call, Wanda. When it really counts, get Gladlock.
Fibercon or Metamucil. Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
Oh, great. We're spending the day at her house. Man, she's got the life. While we're doing our business in front of the whole world. Old tuna breasts in her private box with a clean, fresh scoop-away litter. Scoop-away's so state-of-the-art it clumps where she wets. They scoop away the clump and bam, Pookie's box is fresh and clean. Me? Oh, I gotta hold it till halftime. Great, I don't even have to go.
Scoop Away, the litter that's day one clean every day.
Lasagna, sausage, and a spicy meatball.
But you know I can't eat this. I'll be up all night with heartburn.
Your appetizer.
New Pepcid AC acid controller.
This one little pill can stop heartburn before it starts. Just take this one now before dinner. It'll prevent heartburn all night long.
Bless you.
Pepcid, now available in non-prescription strength.
I think it needs a little more spice.
You can be heartburn-free with new Pepcid AC.
We're sad to report tonight the death of an extraordinary American woman, Bessie Delaney, after a long and remarkable life. She was among the first black women licensed to practice dentistry, a pioneer in women's education, and that was just for openers.
Bessie?
Many of us, and many of you, came to know and love Bessie Delaney through the memoirs she wrote with her older sister, Sadie, a bestseller that later became a hit play on Broadway.
I never thought I'd see the day when people would be interested in what you old Negro women have to say.
The Delaney sisters, Bessie and Sadie, were both over 100 years old when they wrote their book, The Personal History of a Century, the story of 2 sisters, a family, a nation, and as Charles Kuralt told us when he met them in 1993, the story of 100 years of race relations in America.
Do you believe things are better between the races today than they used to be?
They have separated us completely, yet they expect us to live up to their standards of living without giving us a chance to do it.
The Delaney sisters never married, but they didn't regret it.
And so we just decided that men couldn't support us any better than we could support ourselves. So why support a man?
And their regimen for a long life: boil water before drinking it, take your vitamins, a daily dose of garlic, and exercise. Yes, even if you're over 100. Bessie Delaney was home in Mount Vernon, New York, when she died this morning in her sleep. She was 104 years old. And older sister Sadie Delaney turned 106 last week. Part of our world tonight. Don't miss CBS This Morning tomorrow morning. Don't forget we'll have live coverage of the closing arguments in the Simpson case, beginning probably sometime after noon Eastern Time.
Will Fran take the plunge?
So he's a doctor.
An all-new nanny. Then, how far would you go to get the perfect date?
Would you like to go out on a date with me?
Sure, as long as it's not on a school night.
Can't hurry, love. And who is the most powerful person in Washington?
Hello, FYI.
Murphy's new boss?
You gotta be kidding.
It's the ultimate power struggle on Murphy Brown. All new comedy tonight.
The new Chevy Blazer gives you this elegant interior, exceptional quiet, and 3 power ports to plug in electronic equipment.
zone, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Isn't it nice to know all that's there, even if you're not?
Test drive the all-new Blazer today at your Northwest Chevrolet Geo dealers.
OJ's trial changes TV schedules at 11.